Good afternoon, everyone. Erica with Aurora Heart Healing. This is going to be a little bit of a different type of video because I encounter this so often that I feel at this point I need to address it. And I'll be honest, this is a very scary subject for me. It has been something that I hold back on. I don't like to talk about it too much. And I've lightly touched on this subject in one of my other videos. But today I'm going full force on this. And this is spirituality versus religion. I think it's interesting because I don't see it as a competition, although I have met and recognized that there is this competitiveness that comes with which one is better, which one is right, which one is what's supposed to happen. I've seen persecution through religion, which that has not been my experience through spirituality to the same extent. But I do see similar issues within both. And I'm not here to convince anyone that religion is wrong or that spirituality is wrong. I'm not here to convince anyone that one modality, one faith is better than the other. They're all a belief system within a person. But when we impose our beliefs on someone else and say, you are wrong for thinking that, and you are bad, even though those people are not doing any harm and they're helping, well, there's something to talk about throughout that. So today I have some resources that I'm going to pull up, and I hope that this kind of helps create a type of discussion or even just opens up this perspective for the individuals listening to this, because this is something that's very near and dear to me. Since I was a kid, I've always believed in Jesus my whole life. Also, since I was a kid, I was persecuted for the dreams that I never asked for that told the future, for the premonitions, for the feelings, for these intuitive messages, these abilities. And when we think God doesn't make mistakes, I used to think that I was a mistake. I truly believed I was a mistake because I did these things that none of the people that were Christian around me accepted, believed in, or even met with compassion. I remember one time I was a little girl, really little. I could say I was probably 4 or 5. And I was sitting meditating because I used to do that. And I was at a family member's house. And this family member walks in and he grabs me by my shoulders and chucks me. And he's like, that's the devil's work. Whatever you're doing right now is bad and it's wrong. And I remember just being so stunned and scared. And I thought, wow, God doesn't want me. It was the conclusion that I came to, that I was not wanted, that I was doing the devil's work at that ripe young age. I believed that somehow inside me, I had connected to darkness. And it hurt me for a long time. I was devastated. And even now, sometimes I have to really question when I am thinking poorly of myself. I have to question if it's real or if it's my religious injuries that have created this conception within me. This was last year. One of the most impactful moments in my life were when I met a Christian pastor that took the time to sit with me to talk to me, to get to know me, to understand my perspective. That was a life changer. It was the first time in my life that I felt like I wasn't evil in one way or another. I felt seen, I felt understood, and I didn't feel judged. And my number one question to him, I sat there with him in this hospice training and I asked him, do you think that what I do is bad or wrong? And he asked me, what do I do? And I said, I help people, I help them heal. And he said, you know that the devil has an inability to heal anything. So if you are doing something that is good for another human being, then that cannot be at the hand of darkness. It can't, because they can't coexist in that sense. No. And that moment, I was so relieved, relieved that I could finally reconcile my beliefs, my gifts with a part of me that truly believes that Jesus came here to help us all heal. And today I want to just bring up information for anyone that might be struggling through that light work or persecution, that have been told you are wrong for having intuition, you are somehow demonized for knowing things before they happen, and what that means, because I put my hands on my kids and they heal. That's something that I don't even really open up to share with everybody because it's always been so scary to me to admit. I have dreams that tell the future, and that's scary too. And I look at my younger self and I see how she was treated through that fear, that uncertainty, that I don't know what to do with this. This is such a big world, and all these big people are telling me I'm bad. I look at her and I think, wow, they treated you so bad and so poorly. And that, if we are breaking people, that can't be of the highest order. That doesn't coexist, that doesn't coincide. One of the things that I did when I was a kid and I was struggling with my faith and spirituality is that I read the Bible a few different times. And throughout the Bible, I started to piece together things that most people around me that were studying the Bible never saw. And it was interesting because um, I remember at one point I went to biblical counseling and I was sitting with this woman and I was upset because this person told me that astrology was wrong. So then I go and I sit down and I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm really, really going to understand some of these things. And it was a biblical counselor. So I told her, you know, I'm an Aries and I'm very fiery. I'm very passionate. I'm a leader. And I started telling her these things. And she said, you don't believe that. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, you do not believe that. Astrology is evil. And it took me aback in that moment. Not because I hadn't heard that before, but because at that point I was well versed in a lot of the Bible and even the books that have been omitted from the original Bible. And while I was reading through that, there was a piece that said, The prophets, and I'll paraphrase because I'm not the best at quoting exactly, but the prophets knew that the coming of Jesus was here because of the Star of Bethlehem. And I said that to her, and I was like, that's astrology. They saw in the skies, they prophesied from the star placements that this new being was being birthed into existence. So that's astrology. And she said, no. And I was like, you're making me question my reality right now. And the reality is in this book that we are following, it has multiple references to astrology. And it was frustrating because I knew that there's a lot of programming that has happened throughout life. And that programming is so deeply ingrained to say evil, 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 evil. But how much do we really immerse ourselves in what is good? Because that's what Christianity is supposed to be. We're supposed to be graceful, honest, loving, open. We're supposed to be compassionate. We're supposed to be non-judgmental to others. And it was interesting because I proceeded to say certain things. One is there's some things that I have pulled up here that show that there is astrology in the Bible. It's clearly stated. The Magi, wise men or astrologers, followed a star to find Jesus. How did that turn into astrology as evil? The Magi, the prophets, the wise men, the people that studied the stars followed a star to find Jesus. It made me really question things. Let there be light in the expanse of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years. Genesis 1:14. Let there be lights in the expanse of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years. So what exactly is marking these sacred times, days, and years? The stars. Interesting. Interesting how so many say that that's evil when it's clearly stated. Psalms 19, 1 through 2. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. So within the skies, it shows what beautiful workings Jesus Christ has done on this earth. So those are pretty significant indicators of astrology being true. But even if we did not believe that astrology is true, I'm going to go into Jesus Christ said he did not come to judge. He did not come to judge. So I'm going to pull up some of those verses as well. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. So think about that. He did not send his Son to condemn us, but to save us through him. So Condemnation is judgment. It is, I am judging you, so I am condemning you. But Jesus Christ did not come here for that. He came here to save us from what the opposite of condemnation is, which is love, compassion, acceptance. You judge by human standards. I pass judgment on to no one. John 8:15. So when I meet people, they say, well, I'm Christian, I don't do that. Interesting. Because Jesus Christ said, you judge by human standards. I'm Christian, I don't do that. I pass judgment on no one. That is Jesus's way. He says, I don't entertain those humanly debates about what is good and what is bad. I'm here, present in this moment, giving love, compassion, kindness, understanding. No judgment. If anyone hears my words but does not keep them, I do not judge that person. For I did not come to judge the world, but to save the world. John 12:47. It's so interesting because in my profession, I have had clients come in and they say, well, I'm really scared about this because I'm Christian. Okay. Well, Jesus was our biggest healer. He came here to save us. And that right there, it's interesting because we're going to go into now energy healing within the Bible. Mark 16:17 through 18. Believers lay hands on the sick and they recover. Wait a minute, if energy healing is wrong and I am bad for practicing, I believe and I have the ability to put my hands on someone and physically help them recover. Believers lay hands on the sick and they recover. Jesus heals through laying on of hands. Luke 4:40. It's interesting because he came here to save the world, right? He came here to teach us. He came here to teach us to be more like him. So here we're seeing he actually uses his spiritual gifts by healing the sick. Okay, so we'll just keep going down this rabbit hole just a little bit longer. As we continue to unravel these different concepts, I go back to, okay, so if someone lays hands on another person and they heal, they have helped Jesus accomplish his main goal when coming here, which was to heal the sick, which was to help teach us how to be more like him. So as I continue to look, and this is just a snippet of everything that I've used in my life to understand. So when someone calls astrology unbiblical, is it true? When there are plenty of different verses or instances where all of our beliefs show, if you believe the Bible as a full understanding of what Jesus came to do, you understand that astrology was part of all of that. So I want to come in and just share these points, not to condemn anyone, not to judge anyone, but in hopes that we can acknowledge each other with kindness and love. So, what I do when I sit with someone and they say, oh, I don't believe in that. Well, what exactly do you not believe in? Do you not believe in the healing of hands-on healing? Because that's in the Bible. Do you not believe in astrology and the prophesy? Someone can prophesy events because that's also in the Bible. Do you not believe in loving and compassion because that's in the Bible, that is what Jesus Christ came to teach us in this world? Jesus himself said, I do not judge that person, for I did not come to judge the world, but to save the world. He also said, and that's John 12:47, he also said, do not judge, and you will not be judged. Luke 6:37. Judgment was never what he called us to. I can sit in a room full of Christian people and I can hear them, I can listen, I can share compassion, I can share love, I can share an open heart. But it pains me and it hurts me to say that I have not had the same experience with majority. And that pain is real because I know and I have full faith and trust that our Creator does not make mistakes. Doesn't. What has happened is meant to happen. Even our pains, our sicknesses, our beliefs. What if, just what if, I was put here to make you stop judging? Or I was put here to help one more Christian person unlock their own ability to heal, ability to come from a place of love and compassion and open-heartedness and not judgment. I think I am fulfilling what the Bible tells us to do. And I am scared. I'm scared of putting this video out there. I'm terrified of it, actually, because I've been persecuted for being a light worker. It's interesting because I find a lot of parallels from Jesus Christ to my life. As a young child, being exiled, having to run for their lives, having to hide, being so loving and compassionate that it disturbs others' peace, being truthful, honest, righteous, even when it's hard for me. I'm not Jesus Christ. I'm Eric Levis. But I like to think that I am a student of his teachings. I like to think that I am a student of this world, and that if someone from another religion, another background, another life, another walk of life, another age group, other belief systems come to me, I will not judge them. I will see them for who they are and love them, send them love, send them kindness, even when they're unkind to me. Because my greatest teacher taught me to be that. My greatest teacher taught me that harming someone for their truth is wrong. Jesus Christ said his disciples left him. And then he welcomed them with love again. What if that is what we're supposed to do? Welcome people when they have lost their way, not with judgment, but with open arms, compassion, love, understanding. Judge them not, for they do not know what they do. Every time that I've been called evil or bad or wrong, or all of the other things that I've been called on this journey, that is one thing that's always rung true. Do not judge them, for they know not what they do. And I say that with a heart that is open, but also in pain. Because I see judgment everywhere I go. And I know that that is not what our teacher wanted for us. He came to save the world from that. And he was actually persecuted for it, for being so powerful to let people be who they are, just the way they are. Today, I want you to question yourself, question your reality, question what you believe, question what you think is right or wrong. I want you to sit and question, not from a place of insecurity, but from a place of, is everything that I have been taught truly real? Is this thought true? Because if you look at me and you judge me for what my room looks like, the fact that I can heal people through my hands, the fact that I can sense things that are coming. And if you think that that's wrong or bad, I want you to understand that that is something that is truly insecure within yourself. I'm secure. I have built security because every time that I heal someone, that they leave here happier, healthier, more loving, more kind, more expansive within their heart space, I know I have done good works. So I want you to ask yourself, if you have left a room with someone that has gifts and you have left them feeling evil or wrong, are you fulfilling yours? I hope that this makes you question everything, because I had to change my life because I needed to question mine. And I will end this with a prayer of unity, a prayer that the right people that need to hear this come go all the way through. Listen to the total video because they understand, hey, I might not be doing what I was put here to do. I am leading with judgment, not compassion, an open heart and love. I am judging. I am misplacing my fears. And that, my friends, is just a small way to change the rest of the world and the world around you. I love you all, no matter what you believe, no matter what you think, even if those are really screwy thoughts. They came from somewhere. They came from some type of pain or hurt or experience that was not right. And I'm sorry that those thoughts have transformed you into thinking negative or being judgmental, not just on others, but yourself too. You matter. What you do in this world matters. And for the first time in my life, I wholeheartedly stand in my truth that what I do matters. The words that I say ring truth to others. And that is the greatest gift I could have ever asked for. So thank you for listening. I hope you all have a beautiful day. And I hope that you practice patience without judgment, kindness and love without resentment, retreat, whatever that looks like. The world, as you know it, depends on it. Love you all.